Hello, welcome to the Books of the Month Club. I'm your host, Tawan Sanders. Today we have a special guest, Miss Holmes. Thank you, Miss Holmes, for being here today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, your book, let's talk about your book. It's a Time to Pray. So,
Yes.
before we get started, Miss Holmes, I just like you to let me know more about yourself. Miss Holmes, tell me about you, where you're from, what inspired the book, and then we'll get more into the book. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Minnesota, and I still live here. I never really got very far. And most of my life I spent as a teacher. I went to law school, so I'm an attorney, but I taught at a university. I taught in the College of Business.
Okay.
Taught business law and business ethics.
Mm.
But when I was younger, I used to teach a lot of Sunday school, and I started out actually as a junior high school English teacher.
Wow.
And after I retired, I kind of went back to my English roots
Okay.
and came up with the idea of writing this book. I did some searching, and I could find books on prayer for adults, but I really couldn't find anything for children. That was very good. And what I did was to get a lot of the prayers together that I knew were for children,
Yeah.
and consolidated those and put those in the book, and then added some material
Yeah.
that's sort of aimed at teaching children a little bit about prayer.
Wow. Wow.
And I think prayer is something that parents don't often feel very comfortable talking to their children about. And I've told some people it's kind of like sex. I mean, the parents obviously have done it, but they don't talk to their kids about it. And prayer is kind of the same thing. I think most parents pray, but I don't think they talk to their kids about it all the time.
Wow. Wow. You said most parents don't talk to their kids about prayer. Would you say you started, do you have children, Miss Holmes?
No.
You
I
don't have children.
My
Okay.
nieces and nephews.
They're like
I
our
come from a
children.
large family. I'm the sixth of seven, so
They're like our children, right?
lots of nieces and nephews.
They're like our children, right?
And I've spent most of the time teaching, right? So
Okay,
most of
okay.
my life, my career has been more teaching. And I'm somebody who doesn't really have a lot of skills. I mean, I can't sing, and I can't dance, and I can't draw, and I can't paint, and I can't knit, and I can't crochet. But the one skill I have is taking complex concepts and making them understandable. And
Wow.
that's kind of what I've done with this book, is to take some
Mm-hmm.
I've had a few courses in theology. I'm not really a trained pastor or theologian, but I've had a few courses. And I think I kind of take some complex concepts and make them understandable to children.
Well, when you say take concepts and make them compatible, that sounds like a creative genius.
No, not really. But I'm getting good feedback on the book. When I first wrote it, I actually thought about using a pseudonym.
Oh,
And then I showed the book to friends, and they said, "No, we think you should put your name on it." So I did.
wow. Wow. Wow.
But
So,
it's a surprise to most people who know me that I would write a book like this.
wow. Wow. Would you say that you had a spiritual upbringing, Christianity based, or?
I did a lot. I think most of the activities that my family did were centered around church-related activities.
No. Okay. Okay. So when you were younger, did your parents ever like read with you, or?
My older brothers and sisters did, mostly.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember my parents, but I remember my sisters especially reading books with me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what would you say your inspiration? Where did you pull your inspiration from?
Well, I started out as an English teacher, so I'd work mostly with like 7th and 8th graders. So I kind of knew what they understood and enjoyed, and made it for a little bit younger group than junior high. But I think it's something that can grow with children.
Okay.
It can be read to a young child by a parent or someone else, and I think as children grow, they can read it themselves and look at the prayers, look at the material, and have a deeper understanding of the subject matter.
Wow. Wow, wow. And I thank you again, Ms. Holmes, for taking that time out to create something that's useful and resourceful for all children ages, not just one specific age, but for a variety of age. And it's like you said,
Yeah.
this book,
I've had some requests. I've given copies of it out to pastors who have asked for it, copies to use for
wow,
Sunday school
wow,
too.
wow.
So, and that's actually my next project is to make a version that could be used like for Sunday schools. This one I think is a little bit pricey for that, and it's more like something that could be given out as a gift to a child.
Okay.
For like First Communion or something along those lines. But I'm working on something that would be a little bit smaller and more like educational materials. That's actually my background in writing. I've done a fair amount of study guides and other types of materials for book publishers. But this is my first attempt at something like this that's aimed more towards a general audience.
Right, right. Oh, wow. Again, so as I was reading It's Time to Pray, I was looking at going through some of was this actually Bible quotes, or were these just scripts?
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
There are a fair number of Bible quotes in there.
So what inspired you for the ones that were not Bible quotes? Were they?
Just came to me. It was just kind of a sense that this was something that needed to be done, and it needed to be done right now. So I wrote it. And once I got started, the ideas just kept flowing. So you know, I'm pleased with the way it ended up.
Wow. That goes back into that creative genius I was telling you about, right?
No, I don't think I'm a creative genius. I used to write poetry. I've had a couple poems published a long time ago, but I haven't done much of that.
Poetry.
This is mostly doggerel or bad poetry.
So you say, Ms. Holmes, you're a creative genius, and I thank you for, putting something together, a package together, something as magnificent as this is, and I enjoyed it, by the way. Yes.
Well, it starts out with situations where probably kids could identify with being able to pray, and then it has some prayers there. And then one of the things I added at the end was a place for kids to write their own prayer.
Wow.
If they want to put it in the book, the last page or so I've got.
Wow. Yes, that is.
Tell kids to write their own prayer.
Right, yeah, that is that opening space where it gives them that creativeness to be able to express or to flow like you did when you were writing some of the prayers that is in the book. I think, again, I was going through it, and I looked at one specifically, one about the teenager, and that really touched me. That really touched my spirit, and it did, because we have this bullying going on with the school systems, and and to allow their child to have access to this book and to pray, and it's time to pray. So a time to pray means you can pray anytime.
That's the whole idea of the book, right?
Yeah, you really can pray anytime, whether you're in the classroom, whether you're at Sunday school, or you're in your car. No matter where you are, you can actually obtain this, open it up and start praying. Pray, and the memorization of it is so small. It's not complex.
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought. Some of these were prayers that I grew up with. They're ones that I learned when I was young. And I just sort of put those in there. Most of these are ones that have been around for a long time.
Wow.
I also put the peace prayer of St. Francis of Assisi in there.
Yes.
And that's always been one of my favorites. Now that's maybe more for older children, but I like when it says, "Help me not so much to be loved, but to love." I think that's a good concept for kids to have.
That's a great concept, and that prayer is actually towards the end of the book. It's actually at the actual end of the book. I seen that. So and I noticed that was more geared towards older children, if you will. And then the ones prior to were geared towards more with children that would need help, maybe from it. They get that family involvement, their friends, their teachers, their pastors, their parents, for younger children to be able to read, and it engaged the family too. It's not, I know you're thinking just a book for children to learn how to pray, but that family involvement, that that.
I gave a copy to a friend of mine who works at McDonald's. She has a large family. I think she's got 5 or 6 kids. But I gave her a copy, and she told me that she keeps it in her car, and that's the only time she has alone because she's got kids. So she reads it when she's in her car. She said.
Okay, but we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Books of the Month Club, and I'm your host, Tawan Sanders. I'm here with Miss Holmes, and her book is It's Time to Pray. So, Miss Holmes, let's go back to talking about how we inject the family dynamics to It's a Time to Pray book.
Well, I think it's a good book to read to kids, especially younger children, and maybe talk to them about some of the concepts and some of the prayers and when to pray, when they might want to pray. I also think there are some real good table prayers in the book for families to use before meals. So, those are things to discuss with kids and to use as a family unit.
Okay. You said prayers that we do before meals, right?
Right.
So
right.
And would those be the prayers from the actual Bible, or would those be some prayers that came from your creative geniusness?
No, they're really prayers that have been around for a long time.
Okay.
Like that church groups have used for years. Most of them come from that.
Wow.
There's also the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi that I mentioned. That's been around it actually was written by St. Francis back,
Wow.
I don't know, about 400 or 500 AD.
Right.
It was around.
And you referenced the St. Francis the St. Francis prayer. It was all right that I share that.
Yeah, the peace prayer.
Yes, the St.
That's
Francis
one of my favorites.
Peace prayer is from the peace prayer of St. Francis. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. Amen. That was, oh my, oh wow.
I think that's something for kids to think about, because they're still learning how to relate to other people, and sometimes are very consumed with their own thoughts. And hopefully this will get them to start thinking about other people and other people's perspectives.
Right, yeah, oh yeah, and love. It teaches you, instead of to be,
Right.
one part you say, instead of to be consoled, to console. Wow. Wow.
Right, right,
Wow. That takes it to not playing victim, but be the
right,
hero.
right.
Wow.
And
That's
I think kids need to hear that today.
mhm.
The table prayers, I found some of those in here too.
Mhm.
One that I know is very popular is
Mhm.
for food in a world where many walk in hunger, for
Mhm.
faith in a world where many walk in fear, for friends in a world where many walk alone. We
Wow.
give you thanks, O Lord. Amen.
Wow. Wow.
And I think that's a powerful prayer too
Wow.
for kids to learn.
Yeah, I'm still at wow. I'm still at wow. That is amazing. And the simplicity of the poems and the scriptures and the prayers, the simplicity of it allows you to be able to meditate on it, to
Right,
memorize.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that's what kids will get out of it. That some kids will learn how to actually learn the benefits of meditation and prayer and just
Yes.
being quiet and allowing God's will to flow through them.
So you said meditation. How is important? How did meditation play a role, if any, in the production of "It's a Time to Pray"?
Um, well, I think sometimes people are so busy with what's going on in their own lives that they need to just stop and think. And even if you don't formally pray, I think that it's good to have some time to just clear your mind and allow yourself to relate to the world.
Right. Right. Right.
Sometimes I think they call it relating to the present.
Yeah. Reflection. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a popular concept now.
And you said something that stood out in my spirit. Being a Sunday school teacher, I taught Sunday school for years at my church. You were saying how they get so busy that sometimes they don't know how to pray, why to pray, or when to pray. You know,
Right.
And the how to pray, this introduces you from a basic standpoint on how to pray by telling you what to pray. You know,
Right.
so a lot of people
Right.
tell you to pray, but they don't tell you the how factor and what to pray. So,
Right,
so
right.
yeah. So you said something about the meditation standpoint of it. That is really
and mindfulness is a concept that you hear a lot about today. I went to a short seminar one time on mindfulness, and basically what they were teaching you to do is to just sit and breathe, clear your mind and breathe,
yes, that would be a starting point.
and that's a good starting point.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yes, yes. It's a reflection. The word that you used was from reflection, to reflect back sometimes on your day or your situation or your plans, and to go and find something as simple as this book. I don't want to discredit when I say simple. The simplicity is to help for memorization. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
okay.
hoping that there would be some prayers here that kids would memorize.
Yeah.
And I taught most of my life, and I know memorization has kind of been discredited somewhat, but I still believe that it's important for children and students generally to memorize a certain amount. And then I think if they memorize, then sometimes they can take what they've memorized and take it and learn from there and think from there. But sometimes they need to know the basic concepts before they can actually use those concepts. And that's where I think memorization can play a role.
Wow. Wow. You said you was teaching. So did you ever introduce prayer to your class as a teacher?
Well, I taught in the public school, so I didn't generally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Except for Sunday school. When I taught Sunday school, we talked about it a little bit.
Wow. Wow. So would you say not being able to pray can affect in public schools?
Not really.
Not really. Not really.
I taught a lot of students from different backgrounds, actually, because I was at a university. So I have a fair number of Muslim students.
Okay.
had a lot from the China and
Wow.
The Far East.
Wow.
Had some students from Pakistan and from India. So a lot of different backgrounds that people have had, religion-wise. So I didn't really get into this. That's why people are kind of shocked when they see this, because I'm not somebody who has shared a lot of my faith throughout my life.
Right, right. Oh, wow. That's interesting. You had children from all around the world, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So were you able, you was not able to introduce them to prayer because of the demographics of where they were from?
No, but I think too with more, well, let's say fewer people being involved with organized religions of various denominations, that students aren't getting a lot of training in some of the basic human or Christian concepts.
Okay.
And what I've tried to do here is to take some sort of basic Christian concepts that pretty much cross denominations.
Wow.
And are used frequently. It's pretty close to being non-denominational. I would say. The book that is here that finally ended up.
That's
but it relates to some basic concepts that pretty much all Christian religions follow.
And that's the feel that I got once I was reading it too. It kind of was a non-denominational type of book, right?
Right.
I realized that on this journey, and also too on this journey for reading this book, that is so structured from the beginning to the end. And I noticed how it flowed. The flow started out with you can read it to a 2-year-old to transitioning over to a high schooler.
I think so. I think it could be used for all ages. And as I said, I think it grows with the child.
It grows with the child, and that's an excellent concept. So tell me, what was your mindset when you were formulating the prayers and making that transition from a 2-year-old? What was your mindset? Were you thinking more like a certain age group, or were you thinking like, no, I really want it to be relatable for all children?
I was thinking more elementary age, but I think the final product, it can be read to children who are young, and for children who are older and are able to read on their own, I think it can be used as kind of a reference book or something to study and think about, to sort of jumpstart them on a prayer journey.
On a prayer journey, especially being able to input in the end their own prayer. At the end, where you have that opening where they can insert their own prayer, their own scriptures, and it's also going to be. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I added that, write your own prayer here. And I realize if it's a hardcover book, some people might not like having kids write it, but I thought that was a good idea to have them write their own prayer. And I had a sister who died young. And when my mother died, we were going through her things, and I found a book that had been given to my sister when she was, I think, about 12 years old. And a religious book, and she had written a few things in there, and I really treasured those when I found those. I thought, well, this is wonderful that I have something that she actually put there.
Wow.
And I thought this would be the same sort of thing. I mean, have your children write in it, and it could become sort of a family heirloom that you pass down.
Yes, was definitely a family heirloom. So was that what part of your inspiration came from, with finding that journal that was from your mother and your sister?
I think so. It was right.
So it tied in. It all worked together for the good, right? Right.
Well, I think my mother had probably saved it because it was something her daughter had done, you know. But then when I found it, my sister died when I was a teenager, so I was, it's been a long time, and it was really good to see that and think about what she had written.
What she had written, and to have that, to still have that piece of her from that journal, that is really.
This was a religious book that had been given to her when she was confirmed, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. What I want to do now is just talk about It's Time to Pray, Miss Holmes. This is a great inspirational book for not just elementary school, I think for all ages. I
Well, and
enjoy
I've
reading
given it
this.
to adults who have liked it for themselves. So,
Yes, adults. I'm a Sunday school teacher, and I actually will take this to my class and implement this in some type of study. I will actually make this a routine.
that's what I'm thinking. And I was telling you earlier that that's kind of my next project is to make a version that could be used for Sunday schools, or that could be used in religious schools. Just a smaller kind of workbook type version, maybe, that could
Wow.
be used.
Wow, wow, wow. I really do. I agree with you. I agree with you because the simplicity of it, however, is so power packed. From
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
page all the way to the end. You know, you don't want to put it down. I didn't want to put it down as an adult. So let alone, you know, to actually take lessons from it, from each prayer, to actually convert that over to a lesson for the children. I think this will actually be dynamic, and it would open up the doors to the creative genius in the children, so they can tap into knowing and finding out just who they are. What would you incorporate to a part two? If you did a It's Time to Pray part two, what would you incorporate?
Probably more prayers, and maybe more inspiration for children. Maybe make some suggestions as to things that they could do for writing their own prayers. Some new poetry.
New art. Yes, yes. Just to add on to what you already have. That's amazing. The part two will be a really, really nice concept
Yeah.
to inject in. And so, oh, and also to adding in a opportunity for behind each prayer to make it a lesson. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
This thing you created.
I was gonna say this book is available on Amazon if anybody is interested in it. There's kind of a placeholder book cover that shows up, and if you click on that one, then this one shows up.
Okay,
So,
okay. Well, it's time to pray with Miss Holmes. Again, I thank you for your being a creative genius. I thank you for creating something magnificent. And I think what you've created is you've established a brand, if you will,
okay.
teaching the young ones how to pray, not telling them to pray, but showing them how to pray and giving them the tools to pray with. And I thank you again so much for being a part of the Preach the Word Network. And I thank you, Miss Holmes. Thank you
Okay.
so very much for coming out with us today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. It's been nice to talk to you.
Thank you for joining us with the Books of the Month Club. Hopefully you'll join us again next week. Thank you.